areas where the stuff's coming out of the ground. I mean, we need this money here for economic development, for roads, for all those things. You'll be seeing more and more of that in your community. So those are two things that I wanted to talk about specifically, but more than that, I just wanted to comment and just kind of see if you had any questions about anything that you're hearing about what's going on in Columbus, and leave some cards and just make myself available.
Could the arts money be used for the school district?
Maybe. This is the problem with the capital budget bill, the way that they set it up for us. It's been very vague. And they've said, well, get all your projects, and then we'll evaluate them, and then we'll make a decision. And they don't tell us how much money is in the pot, and they don't tell us exactly what they're looking for. Now, the way that I'm going about this is I'm trying to play as nice as possible with the governor, as nice as possible with the majority party, because there's no reason to start fights and to argue about certain things at this point. We want to make sure that we are bringing as much from Columbus back to the Valley. And in order to do that, I've always found that, fighting for your district sometimes isn't always the best approach. You got to dig your heels in, and when you have something that you want to argue about, you have something that you believe in, you got to go for it. But at the end of the day, they have 23 members and we have 10 members. I'm one of the 10. I make sure that when I can work with them, I work with them. When I have to fight with them, then I fight with them. And so I'm kind of taking that same...
And you were newly elected as the minority leader, correct?
Correct. So we're going to vote on that on January 14th. And so, go ahead.
We had a steering committee meeting for Poland Schools with the new superintendent. And one of the things that the community got together and talked about was how we lack arts. And the superintendent said we lack funding for arts. And if that's something that, because I know that the government has cut back, the state has cut back on school funding, but if they can use those funds, not backdoor to the arts, but if the community decides that's what's important to us,
it's worth a try. All of it's worth a try. I mean, I tell people, I've told a lot of communities when I've gone to council meetings, don't go out and spend thousands of dollars on a bid to get some rendering of whatever you're talking about. Just get the basics in there so that if the chamber believes that it would be important to the Valley, and we obviously as the legislators from this area believe it would be important to the Valley, and the governor's office and the folks down in Columbus would believe that this is something that they want to pay for, then we'll go with it. So I think that whatever ideas you have, you should go with. I mean, this public school funding stuff, it's not going to change. I mean, I'm not anytime soon. I go down there, this is something that I go crazy about. This is something that I do fight like hell with them about because it drives me absolutely nuts. I mean, we're totally decimating public schools, and we're just allowing a free-for-all. I mean, with open enrollment, with charter schools, with e-schools, with all of these alternative education, we're leaving these public schools at risk. And it's very, very, very difficult, not only in Poland, but throughout Mahoning County, Columbiana County, and the whole state of Ohio. That's something that if your superintendent wants to discuss further, I always need good people down in Columbus to come testify on these education bills. I've had guys from Austintown come down. I've had guys from Boardman come down. I've had guys from Canfield come down. So if there's things that you see that you want to send a representative to, just have them call me, because I need good people from the Valley to come testify in Columbus. It's very, very powerful, it's very meaningful, and it's helpful for me too.
I'm going to pass that along to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Other question?
Yes. When you talk about these funds, are these grants, are these matches with the local community, or is it a 20/80 like a normal grant would be, or how does it work?
The way that it's set up now, it's fully paid for by the state of Ohio. So these are, but I don't know how much money is going to be allocated. This is the part that's been frustrating to me. When we did a little one when I first started, there was no chamber involvement. This chamber involvement is something new that the governor has put forth. I'm okay with it because I work well with the chamber, but it has ruffled a lot of feathers with legislators, because the old way was legislators would go to councils, they would go to different groups, and they'd say, what kind of projects do you need? what kind of projects do you want? Then the legislators would bring them down, advocate for their specific projects in their district. But this year, the power has been taken over by the chambers. So the chambers are the ones that are really going to, their final job is to break down what they think is most important to Mahoning and Trumbull County specifically. Our chamber is supposed to do this and get this down to Columbus. Now, we have input as well, but I mean, I don't think it's any surprise if you follow politics that Humphreys is Kasich's favorite guy in the valley. That's part of the reason why this chamber involvement is so high. That's okay. I'm just saying that's the real deal of it. And so I think that,
depending if they like us or not.
I mean, I hate to say it like that, but
to some extent,
sometimes that is important.
Yes.
So this funding is over and above any the typical grants that you have, like the Clean Ohio Fund, the Safe Routes to School. This is over and above that.
Something totally separate.
Okay. Do you know, are those particular grants going to be funded this year?
Clean Ohio?
Clean Ohio and the Safe Routes to School?
Clean Ohio will be fully funded. Clean Ohio was a part of the budget. It was, I believe they allocated $10 million for Clean Ohio, which was the same amount that was allocated last year. So that'll be fully funded. We've done well with Clean Ohio grants in the Valley, and it's been a good thing. It's been a very good thing for cleaning up brownfields, cleaning up a lot of the sites. We're trying to. We got that dam removal money from the Ohio EPA for Lowville last year, $2.6 million to take out that first dam. We're trying to move to the other dams throughout the river. That's another thing that I think is very important, not specifically to Poland, but to the Mahoning Valley.
Is there any way we can use your influence if we go for grants such as those?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I would be happy to do whatever you need me to do to advocate for you. I mean, that's the purpose of me coming to the meeting, is to tell you that if there's things that I can do to be helpful, just let me know. I mean, if you want me to come see the project first, be happy to do that, and then we can get a letter, make some calls, and try to make sure that folks in Columbus know how important this is for whatever reasons.
Because we do have a couple of things we've been toying around with in those areas.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Senator, I've got a question. You mentioned that the grant is for the arts, and you also mentioned that it's a very vague term. I guess I'm looking for some direction. When you say the arts, are you talking about a physical piece of artwork, or are you talking about events that evolve around the arts?
Absolutely not artwork, okay? We're talking about, I'll tell you some folks that have applied. We're talking about, like, in the past, Stamp Auditorium, and we're talking about, I know, Western Reserve Ballet, stuff like that. I mean, I know that those are the folks that have applied, that are trying to receive dollars, like the Tyler Center downtown. They're trying to receive dollars to finish their project. So projects that will benefit residents living in the Mahoning Valley, to be a little more specific, but not specific pieces of art. And that's why the school stuff, I don't really know exactly how that would play in. And that's a problem for me, is that when I ask those questions, I get vague responses like I'm giving you. And so I'm not trying to play dumb, that's all I know. And so that when I get the projects, I'm supposed to submit the project. So if it's for a piece of artwork, submit it, and we'll go for it. You know what I mean? I don't want to, I'm not holding anything back. I just don't know exactly what they mean by what they're saying.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Other questions? Yes.
This one it's a difficult thing. I understand what you're saying, and we have community projects where we just had Christmas is a very big thing in Poland.
Sure. I've been up here before.
For our events, and they're short money for repairing things and replacing ornaments and things that they use for the whole event. Do things like that qualify? Is it?
I mean, I'll say that on the grand scheme of things, that probably would not be a project that would, when you're looking at that versus finishing the Tyler Center in downtown Youngstown, I think that you'd have a struggle to make an argument of why that would benefit more people, more residents, improve quality of life, all the things that they're going to argue. But again, it's worth submission.
A small thing. It's
Absolutely.
a very small thing. But, okay, how about this? I'm not giving up that easy. How about, we have a very active historical group here. They're looking to put historical markers in various areas of the town. Our history is long and very rich. And it can bring people to our community to see those things and take a walking tour and do that
That makes
kind of
sense to
thing.
me.
Would that be something?
And we might be able to, there may be other funds for something like that specific. But what to do is get it together, get some sort of estimation of cost, and then submit it to me. Just call me, and we'll go over it, and I'll try to find somewhere for it, if I can. I can't make any promises, and this is the first time since I've had this job where people are actually going to get money and not get cut. And so it's always been like, everybody was like this mad at me, or this much, or this. It's like we couldn't get it. Everybody was getting cut. It was just how deep that cut was going to be in all of the budgets that we've ever done. So this is the first time that we've done in our standard budget where people seem to be somewhat okay with it, other than public schools and local governments. But now with this project money, there's going to be some projects that are going to be awarded. I just don't know how many, and I just don't know exactly how that's going to look. But that's better than we've seen in the past because, as you know, with what happened with the economy, this is the first time that the government's actually, at least the state government's actually going to bring this fund back.
In the realm of this particular area, our upgrading of safety forces, would that be included?
I don't think that's part of it, but that's very important. I mean, I know that that's another thing that I'm always trying to advocate for. Is that's not a Poland-specific issue. That's an Ohio issue, and specifically, we need to make sure that we're keeping our communities safe, and that's a huge quality of life issue. And people. When you're cutting local governments and you're cutting public schools, you're putting the onus back on the residents. And so that leaves you in a very, very difficult situation. It leaves me in a tough one too, because what happens is, and the governor has made he hasn't really hid the fact that he's saying to public schools and saying to local governments, you have to fend for yourself. The state of Ohio is not going to be there for you. And so he said that multiple times. I mean, I don't want to paraphrase what he said, but I'm sure you could find clips where you can see him saying that. And what he's saying to you is, and he's saying to residents if you want services, you're going to have to pay for them. And in order to pay for them, you got to pass levies. And obviously everybody knows the success rate of levies. It's not good. And all it does is irritate people, and it makes people think at every level of government, from your level to my level to federal level, that something's wrong. Because why do they have to pay when they already pay their taxes? Where's the dollar? Where are those dollars going? And so it makes it very, very difficult. So I mean, the short answer of it is no, and I don't expect, at least till we do our next biennial budget in 2 years, that there's going to be any change in local government funding.
Okay.
Unless we do some sort of budget correction bill, which is possible but not probable. Other questions? Okay. Yes?
I would just like to thank you for coming out. Usually Poland Village gets ignored. I know we're a small town.
The mayor calls like
We are basically a small town, but we really appreciate you coming out, and it speaks volumes for your administration that you do this.
Well, I don't really have an administration. It's me. And so I have 2 paid staff members in Columbus. Well, now I have 3. With my new job, I have 3. But I mean, thank you. And I really, the only reason why I do this is to try to help people and to help the Valley. I don't really have any hidden agendas with this stuff, but thank you. And if I could be helpful, I will. And I'll always be honest with you. There's a lot of stuff that people want that I can't do.
Yeah.
And but if I can, then I will. And so I'll pass out some cards. and if you need me, give me a call, and you can continue with the meeting. And anytime there's something that comes up, just give me a holler to come back.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I like that. I'm going to have to take my picture right now.
I like
Happy holidays.
Same to you. Thank you.
I'll be right back. I have to go to parent-teacher meeting real quick.
You're out of here? Bob, you run up?
We'll do that. That's what we're meeting. Yeah. Anyone else have any caucus items quickly? Is Russ, where's Russ?
Who's here?
When Russ comes out, I'll talk with him about it, but there is a resident I was telling you earlier, his name's Steve Herdman, he lives on Lee Drive, and he called me, he actually emailed me about his concern with traffic in the morning, before school and after school, coming around the corner and the bend. So Russ sat there for a day or two and actually clocked some of the people, and he said they were pretty consistent within the 25 miles. It just looks deceiving when you're coming in that corner, but then you slow down. But we're going to talk with Russ and maybe put up a slow school sign or something like that to try and curb some traffic there.
Joe, we can give him...
Yeah, we'll talk to him during the police, Joe. We have like 1 minute.
Well, we'll get him during police.
We only have like a minute.
You can start the meeting in a second.
When he comes out, we'll talk about it.
Oh, okay.
But he had mentioned, Mr. Herdman had mentioned putting speed bumps on this road, and Russ said it's something we can't really do on public roads, so just, making it aware. I told him that he would really have more clout if he came and presented to council. I thought he was going to come to that, maybe he got into the vine somewhere. But it is 7:30. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call of members.
Is that here? Mr. Donovan? Here. Mr. Attorney Lynn? Here. Mr. Mays? Here. Mrs. Cerny?
Here?
Mrs. Gash? Here. All present.
All right, acceptance of the minutes from the previous council meeting.
We have an issue on those that we have to speak with Anthony about. And he's going to talk about it.
All right, go ahead and do that.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the orders of the day and to continue with the discussion from caucus.
Okay, Mr. Simon is here.
Second.
I'm sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I was excited I'd say that. Mr. Simon is here, and his girlfriend Eunice with him. And if you could please stand so people don't know who you are, recognize yourself. Yeah, we really appreciate all you've done, and we have a resolution for yourself, and Ed's not here, but we'll read this to you, and then Mr. Major will get it all signed, and we'll get it framed and present it to you in more official form. But this is a resolution established to recognize Michael Simon for his contribution to the tree lighting and celebration at the Village Green in Poland Village. Whereas Michael Simon generously contributed to and supported the tree lighting and celebration at the Village Green in the Village of Poland, and whereas the generous support of Michael Simon has enabled the enhancement of the aesthetics of the Village of Poland during the holiday season and provided enjoyment to the residents, and whereas the generous contribution of Michael Simon will continue to provide beauty and enjoyment to the Village of Poland and its residents for many years to come, now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Poland, Mahoning County, Ohio, that the Council of the Village of Poland, Ohio does hereby recognize and express its thanks and appreciation to Michael Simon for his generosity in supporting the tree lighting and celebration at the Village Green, that Michael Simon is hereby made an honorary member of the Samuel K. Hine Memorial Board, that this resolution be presented to Michael Simon, and that this resolution be entered into the official records of the Village of Poland, County of Mahoning, State of Ohio, past this 17th day of December 2013. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. You'll pass it around, you get a chance, we'll sign it and get it to him, right? The official one? Okay. We're going to do the same thing for Ed, too. Same thing, just substituting Ed Moransky's name for Michael Simon, who was also a big part of it. Now, or we get to the process?
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to resume the orders of the day.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we talked about the minutes. When Anthony comes back, we'll address
Can I
that.
ask you, Linda, I didn't hear what you said about the minutes, I'm sorry.
We need to talk to Anthony about those.
The last set of minutes?
Yes,
Okay,
he's going to give us some guidance on that.
okay.
All right, notification of meetings and events to the public and news media. Blooper. We met tonight. Okay, finance?
Second.
Nothing. Legislation?
Nothing.
Police?
Nothing.
Street department?
We met tonight, but the biggest problem we have now is leaf pickup.
Yeah, that's a mess.
But that's the only thing we discussed.
Boards, ARB?
As always, we meet the first Thursday of the month, 7 p.m., Village Hall.
Planning?
Planning will be not normal time, 12:27 at 5:30 here.
Board of Zoning Appeals?
Nothing scheduled.
Western Reserve Fire District?
Next year.
Forest Board?
Nothing,
And High Memorial?
nothing.
Well, from the mayor, I don't have anything other than that the November Violations Bureau account has been balanced.
Motion to accept the mayor's report.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Report from Fiscal Officer, Mr. Cerny.
Okay, I'm circulating around a list of bills to be paid. You have received the November numbers, and in relation to the November numbers, that's why we're doing those appropriation ordinance amendments. The bank reconciliation is reconciled as of November 30th, circulating that for your signatures. We will be voting here tonight for the 2014 temporary appropriation ordinance, the 2013 appropriation amendments, and the ordinance for the law enforcement trust fund. I do have a question, which I guess we have to wait for Anthony, on the MS consultants bill that we got about a month ago for $700. Anthony was looking into that. And I will also need a motion by council to pay the medical mutual bill, which I have not received yet. That will be received sometime in December for the month of January, and also for the electric bill for the work that was done outside. So, as long as you guys say it's okay, as soon as I get those bills, I will pay them.
The bill for the electric will come out as quoted. Have you seen it?
No, it's not out yet. So as soon as I get it, I will get a hold of you and make sure that it's okay. And then
So we have sufficient funds for the appropriations, I know we have sufficient funds.
yes, the funds
To
are
cover
there. I
these
just
bills
need
to be
to
paid out
approve
at
it.
this meeting.
Right.
Okay. Did you also on the temporary, on the temporary appropriations for the first 3 months next year, did you allow for the increase in the hospitalization?
Yes, I did.
Okay, great.
And the report.
Make a motion to accept the report.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll hold off for Anthony. Deputy Clerk, you have anything for Deputy Clerk? All right, Zoning Administrator, Mr. Spaulding.
Okay, first thing, we're continuing to build the case on 12 Poland Manor. We have clear direction now. Will be executed here shortly. In addition to that, we wrote a minor misdemeanor for one of our village residents for storing a junk vehicle in their driveway. In addition, Ted Hyman came in and asked to see the riparian setback map that's attached to our ordinance. And Joe, as engineer, was good enough to contact MS Consultants, and they provided a copy of the maps for us and also for Ted. Let's see what else, that's about it.
How about approve the, oh, go ahead.
Oh, just an update on the Eisenstein building.
I have no update for you at this time, other than, like I said, I've been subpoenaed to appear in court.
Oh, you have?
Yes, January 13th, I believe. I believe it's January 13th. Yeah, January 13th, 10 a.m.
Thank you.
Okay, Dave, would you discuss a little bit about 12 Fulton Manor?
Okay, 12 Pullen Manor. What Anthony has instructed me to do is to write a letter stating that the property was deemed a nuisance by Village Council. So at that point, we will be informing him to correct his deficiencies. That's where we are with that.
That seems to be a wide open discussion. When, you didn't send a letter yet.
That's correct.
When are you going to send the letter?
By the end of the year.
By the end of, okay. Then, who's going to determine what the deficiencies are?
The deficiencies are set by our ordinance. They are set by our ordinance. It's labeled specifically debris piles, unfinished siding, open enticement for danger. So they're specifically lined out. So, Joe, I got to be honest with you, this is not going to be a clear-cut case. This is going to take time. There's no doubt about that. It took time to get to this point. It's going to take time to get it.
And you've been taking photos of it. Right?
Oh, absolutely. It took photos in June, took photos this month. So
Okay.
it's going to be a process, and that goes, to everybody. It's going to be a process.
It's a criminal case, isn't it?
Not at this time.
Oh, but the
Not at
nuisance
this time.
is not at this time.
Not at this time.
But are they bringing a criminal case?
We may get to that point.
You make it to that.
Yes. We may get there. I'm taking all of my instruction from Anthony. So I'm proceeding per
So
his...
getting a criminal case would get his attention, that's the point, more than just a civil case.
So,
However, that house wouldn't be allowed down the hill. Okay. So
I agree with you completely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, motion to approve the zoning administrator's report. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, report from Chief of Police and Street Commissioner.
Both been in writing.
I was telling him about Mr. Urban of our Lee Drive, and that you had sat there a few days and clocked the speeders, and
Yeah, 2 days.
maybe we could put up a school sign or something like that.
Absolutely.
I guess if he would come in and explain more what he's looking for, we could work more with him, but...
It's kind of, what I ran into up there was kind of interesting. It's almost like an illusion. It's a very narrow street, a curve, and I would see a car coming, you're thinking, oh, this car got to be flying, and they're going 25. Because of how narrow it is and how tight it is, and like I said, it's a curve. They look like they're going much faster than they are. But we're definitely addressing it, and like I said, I've been up there a couple of times in the morning. I sat at a couple of different locations. I sat down by the triangle, I sat farther up, almost to the curve, and I sat up on Ohio too, watching the stop sign. And they're really, it is very busy, but there wasn't anything really flagrant, there really wasn't. But we'll keep addressing it, not a problem.
Ross, I've got a question for you. Did you happen to have a chance to serve that minor misdemeanor?
Yes?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, done.
Okay.
So is the police committee ready to move forward with hiring this young man for a part-time status?
He's been hired as a reserve, he's just ready to be moved up to part-time.
I'm going to make a motion tonight.
Motion to accept the police and street report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, report from engineer, Joe.
I don't have anything.
All right. Reports from outstanding committees of council, finance...
Excuse me, I did talked to Gary about that divider.
Okay.
When you go down on the 680, that Mark brought up.
Yeah.
And they got cones out there that they're going to put something up there permanent when the weather's done.
Yeah, that's still a disaster. Thank you. Yep. Reports from outstanding committees of council, finance, wage, audit, and insurance.
The only thing that finance asks of you right now is to start thinking about what your needs are for 2014. Blooper is already working on the replacement of that copier, which is really needs to be done badly. So if you have, specific projects, more needs than wants, please forward them to finance.
Legislation and policy, police and fire,
Nothing.
streets, sidewalks, and drainage. Blooper.
We met tonight, as Linda said, we talked about the copier, and Blooper is making a recommendation to the Finance Committee to purchase the black and white copier, at least at 60 months, at $103 a month.
To lease it.
Lisa?
You said buy.
How old
Did I
is
say
it?
black lease it?
When did we purchase the one
It's
that's
been like 8 years.
I thought there was talk of color.
We decided not to recommend that.
So you leased the copier from the company,
They take it, yeah.
and they're the ones
For
that
60 months,
service
and
it.
after 60 months, then we're done with it, and we'll start over.
And it's full maintenance and everything, so fully warranted.
That's it. Motion to accept the ARB report. Blooper. Sorry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Reports from boards, planning commission.
Nothing.
I have something to add to planning. At our next meeting on the 27th at 5:30, there will be another agenda item that Paula has advertised. It's a replat of 2 Ravine Place.
It's been advertised and the neighbors notified, correct?
Neighbors have not been notified yet. Yes, absolutely, it's a routine replat. It's not a controversial.
Okay, that was the one that we had last meeting that we
Yes.
couldn't move over.
Correct.
A question on the project opposite Poland Union. Was that brought up at planning at all?
No, that's going to be the subject of this next planning commission.
And
And there's going to be, it's a public hearing.
And when is that scheduled?
That's the 27th at 5:30. Okay, and then after that, depending on what the planning commission does, then council will start their thing in February.
All right, Board of Zoning Appeals,
Nothing.
Architectural Review Board,
Nothing at this time.
Forest Board, Hyde Memorial, and Western Reserve Fire District.
Just that at our last meeting of the month, the year 2014, a village resident will be needed to be appointed to the Western Reserve Fire District.
Did you mention that? All right,
Is that the appointment? You make the appointment?
I recommend it, you
Okay.
guys confirm it.
Okay, we'd like to recommend Mr. Zediker again.
Would you like to do that, Mr. Zediker? For the fire board, as a citizen, would you like to do that if you're recommended? Yes, sir. Okay, thank you. Reports from special committees. Communications from residents. Any new business? Any old business? Any business? All right, motions, ordinances, and resolutions. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Tim.
Yes. Sorry, Kathy.
Kathy Lynn, 24 Audubon Lane. I would like to introduce Mr. Michael Simon to council. He'd like to address council.
Hi, I just wanted to say I really appreciate you having me down here, and I'm hoping that we continue with the plans next year. I know that Eddie, when he was there the night of lighting of the tree, was very enthusiastic about it, and Eddie was kind of my partner on that, and he would like to put more decorations like candy canes and bows in the trees so that you see it during the day. And I know that we're talking about next year about having something on the agenda that you do, but Kathy and I are on a friendly disagreement about having it the same night because it might be too long of a party. And I'm hoping that we can have like a family-friendly contest where we'd have a drawing for 3 winners, and we would give the mother and father, I will do this if Eddie doesn't want to involve, I'll do this on my own with my girlfriend Eunice. The mother and father would get a gift certificate to a restaurant, the children get a gift certificate to Toys R Us, and you'd have a 3rd place, 2nd place, and the 1st place winner would also get a gift certificate, and the children would get the honor of lighting the tree for Poland. So I know that Eddie was really amazed at it. He was out of town, so he wasn't able to participate in the planning of it and everything. But he came back and he was very happy with the job. Edison Lighting, as you can see, did an excellent job. And Dickey Electric and Ohio Edison, Kathy dropped the application off on a Friday. Ohio Edison approved it. They had the permanent surface done on a Monday. So it was a one-day deal with Dickey Electric, and I know that Eddie, myself, and my girlfriend Eunice, and Eddie's wife, Chrissy, really want to do an expansion of the lighting for Poland Village and Township.
Good job. All right, back on motions, ordinances, and resolutions.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion out of our police department, and I would like to take Tyler Beck. He has finished his reserve training, and I'd like to make a motion for him to be moved to a part-time status.
This is on the chief's recommendation.
Yes, it is.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. You want to do these resolutions?
Yeah,
So we recognize these as a...
Does Joe want to do this?
Okay, this is formally voting on the resolution to recognize Michael Simon for his contribution to the tree lighting and celebration at the Village Green in Poland Village.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And also a resolution established to recognize Edward Moransky for his contribution to the tree lighting and celebration at the Village Green in Poland Village.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, unanimous, thank you. All right, Linda, you want to do your stuff?
Okay, you ready, Jeff?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's start. We're going to do these in the order that they're on the agenda to make it a little bit easier for Jeff. So the first one, we're going to have to make a motion to waive the 3 readings and pass by emergency. An ordinance amending ordinance number 142913, which is permanent appropriations, retroactive to November 25th.
Second. Roll call.
Mr. Cassett?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Attorney Lemmer? Yes. Mr. Major?
Yes.
Mrs. Cerny?
Yes?
Mrs. Yash?
Yes.
6-0.
Make a motion to pass an ordinance amending ordinance number 1429-13, permanent appropriations retroactive to November 25th, and to declare an emergency.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Cassett?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Attorney Lemmer? Yes. Mr. Major?
Yes.
Mrs. Cerny?
Yes.
Mrs. Yash?
Yes.
6-0.
Okay, the second one is also for amending permanent appropriations. This one is to waive the 3 readings, to pass by emergency, the permanent appropriations retroactive to December the 1st.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Cassett?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Attorney Lemmer? Yes. Mr. Major?
Yes.
Mrs. Cerny?
Yes.
Mrs. Yash?
Yes.
6-0.
Make a motion to move this ordinance, amending ordinance 1429-13, permanent appropriations retroactive to December 1st, and declaring an emergency.
Second. Roll call.
Mr. Cassett?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Attorney Lemmer?
Yes.
Mr. Major?
Yes.
Mrs. Cerny?
Yes.
Mrs. Yash?
Yes.
6-0.
Motion to waive the 3 readings, to pass by emergency, and order making appropriations for 2014.
Second. Roll call.
I have a question for you. Linda, I want to go back just for a second.
Sure.
We had 2.
2 amending appropriations, correct.
So
One retroactive to
The November 25th and the December 1st,
Yes,
that was number 1 and 2, correct? that we just
Correct.
did? So we're on number 3
We're
right
on
now,
number-
and you are doing number 3 as...
This
Okay,
is-
I'm right.
temporary appropriations.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so this was a motion to waive the 3 readings to pass by
Mr.
emergency.
Cassett?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Attorney Lemon?
Yes.
Mr. Major?
Yes.
Mrs. Cerny?
Yes.
Mrs. Yash?
Yes.
6-0.
Am I going too fast?
Nope.
Okay, so this is a motion to move that ordinance to make temporary appropriations for 2014 and declare an emergency.
Second. Roll call.
Mr. Cassett?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Attorney Lemon?
Yes.
Mr. Major?
Yes.
Mrs. Cerny?
Yes.
Mrs. Yash?
Yes.
6-0.
This is a motion to waive the 3 readings to pass by emergency and ordinance authorizing transfer of interest to law enforcement trust.
Second. Roll call.
Mr. Cassett?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Attorney Lemon?
Yes.
Mr. Major?
Yes.
Mrs. Cerny?
Yes.
Mrs. Yash?
Yes.
6-0.
This is to move the ordinance to transfer the interest to the law enforcement trust fund and declare an emergency.
Second. Roll call.
Mr. Cassett?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Attorney Lemon?
Yes.
Mr. Major?
Yes.
Mrs. Cerny?
Yes.
Mrs. Yash?
Yes.
6-0.
And last but not least, this is to waive the 3 readings on an ordinance to set the salary of the Poland Village zoning administrator.
Second. Roll call. Give me 1 second.
Mr. Cassett?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Attorney Lemon?
Yes.
Mr. Major?
Yes.
Mrs. Cerny?
Yes.
Mrs. Yash?
Yes.
6-0.
Motion for an ordinance setting the salary of the Poland Village zoning administrator effective January the 1st, 2014, replacing ordinance number 1433-13 and declaring an emergency.
Second. Roll call.
Mr. Cassett?
Yes.
Donovan?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan, sorry. Attorney Lemon?
Yes.
Mr. Major?
Yep.
Mrs. Cerny?
Yes.
Mrs. Yash?
Yes.
6-0.
All right, any other motions, ordinances, or resolutions? We gotta wait for the bills to pay those, right?
Dan is still not on.
Call
We have to have a meeting.
Parent, teacher.
So for Dickey Electric and the Medical Mutual, you can't do this because you have the bills, right?
Yeah, we're not going
All right, second and third readings.
Wait, we did need a motion for that, correct?
I'm sorry,
The Dickey and the Medical Mutual, we can't pay those because
we don't have those, invoices yet.
Make a motion for it to pay after you
But
check
if
the
you-
bill.
Yeah,
do that.
yeah, I think we've done that.
Yeah, because if we don't, we're going to have a lapse in coverage on our hospitalization. We can't wait until
Okay.
January 7th.
Understand.
So the bill for the insurance, you'll have to check with Mrs. Cernick, and before the lighting, you have to check with,
Yeah,
and if they approve it, then council is going to pay it.
yeah,
Yeah, just say the phone.
right, as long as that's okay. Okay.
Right, yeah, because I want to make sure that the increase is correct, from what they told me.
Make a motion that once you receive the bill from Dickey Electric, you get approval from Councilman Donovan, and once you get from the medical bill from Medical Mutual, check with Mrs. Cernick. If everything is okay, and motion, we accept and pay the bills. Okay.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, second and third readings. Presentation of the bills.
Make a motion that the bills be paid.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Should we move on to
Well, we could wait for those minutes for the next meeting. I wrote down as a note that they've been tabled.
Okay. Well, what, he has a report, so he's not here, right?
We'll have to ask them, we'll just have to hold them.
So they're tabled, they're not approved, or?
No.
Thank you.
We'll survive.
All right, questions from the news media? Remarks by council, Mr. Cassett.
Sad day to see Mr. Ames step down. On a more pleasant note, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody.
Mr. Donovan.
Michael, again, thank you very much. Appreciate it a lot. Also, I want to thank Dickey Electric for kind of bailing me out here and coming in at the time and fixing the electrical that was lapsing. Also, I express my thanks to Dick Ames. Did a great job for a lot of years. He's very valuable to the village, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Major.
Okay, I also want to thank Michael, and also the Heinz Fund, that Kathy Lynn, thank you. Rebecca Rogers, is she still here?
She was here.
She left? Okay. Lieutenant Clerk. Bob Zediker, you're here. And Bill Donovan, and Russ Beatty, and myself. It was a successful project. Okay. And I wish everybody Merry Christmas.
We almost got out of it. 2 more minutes. You go back up, son.
Okay.
Mrs. Cerny.
I think that the village owes a very big thanks to Dick Ames for all his years of service. I also like to thank all of the people and volunteers that were responsible for helping with celebrate the Christmas form of Celebrate Poland, and the Poland Junior Women's Club, everything that was done at the Heinz Fund property. Mr. Simon, wonderful what you did for us. Kathy, your work was just nonstop on this project, and we really appreciate it. And happy holidays to everybody.
Mr. Limerick.
Well, again, thank you to Michael Simon and Ed Moransky for making it all possible, and all the other people involved in making it a wonderful day for the village. Thank you.
Mr. Jash.
Yes, I want to thank Mr. Simon and Eunice. Thank you very much. It was beautiful. And tell Ed Moransky, too. Welcome to the newly sworn-in elected officials for another 4 years. Sorry to see Mr. Ames going. It's been a long ride with Mr. Ames. And just Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and see you in 2014.
Thank you again, Kathy and Mike and Eunice, for your help. You made it really beautiful, better than I ever thought it would be. Thanks again for that. And Mr. Ames, we'll miss him, but we're also gaining a good guy in this place, so I think we're being good hands for a long time to come up with.
Who you appointed?
So now we need to go back to our favorite part of the meeting, the solicitor's report.
I'll make everyone tonight, no report.
Is there a question someone had for him?
Right, the minutes. We didn't accept the minutes yet because we weren't sure.
I think we're okay.
You think we're okay?
Yeah, the question was about, it wasn't in the last meeting minutes, about the publication issue. I don't think it has to be a publication issue, it's more about actually publishing in the paper, revealing that for the planning commission meeting and the council meeting. I think
Okay. And so the only correction then, Jeff, is that our solicitor did attend that meeting.
Oh, was he?
He's not listed, yes, and he was there.
So we need a motion. Okay, motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Hold on 1 second. Okay, Mark.
Motion to accept the minutes as amended and waive the reading.
Second.
Last one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Question for Anthony. The invoice from MS, did you get a chance to review
I
it?
did. I looked at the contract that Nick had given me, and it does allow me for the work that they had done. I had it noted from Nick's note. It was, assist the owner in preparation of state issue 2 applications, project status reports, and update the owner's capital improvement report. And wasn't it an application that was done? What was it that they had done?
Study, 5-year study.
A study. So I think it falls within what could have been paid by council, but I think council needs to approve that invoice to pay. But I think it fell within the contract.
Motion to pay the MS consultant.
Second?
And since we're still in legal, I have a question for you. I've been sitting here for 9 years, and it was 9 years.
Let's pass that through. Linda, second.
What's the
Pay the
Motion to pay the MS consultant.
Second, Linda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I've been sitting here for 9 years, and for 9 years off and on, we've been talking about separating from the township. What do we need to do to make that happen?
Okay, we've talked about it a lot, and you have to go through a process with the Monroe County Commissioners to allow it to occur. And in the discussions we've had as council throughout, we've weighed the benefits of being connected with them versus the benefits of not being connected. We've decided, I thought in the past, that it was not it did not benefit the village enough to separate from them to actually go through the process. But we can revisit the issue, and once council makes a decision if they want to go ahead and do that, then I can walk you through it again. It's detailed, and it's not...
I don't remember what the advantage was to staying. It's another $70,000 they get from us every year.
Yeah.
I know, there's
Not
no
that-
assurances, well,
They get not quite a full mill, so a mill translates to about $57,000, but the problem is that everybody goes up for grabs on it.
Yeah,
Right,
and
they'll compete for
didn't
it.
Campo have the same thing, and they end up getting a very large portion of that?
That's up to the Budget Commission, though. We have like
But
no...
that's what I'm saying. They
Right.
did the same thing, and they thought the same thing, and ended up getting a large portion of it.
But we could get a very small portion.
Yeah, and I think, I forget if it was George Talbot I talked to or Commissioner Trafficani, but the way they explained to me was just because that money goes back into the pot, that would normally go to the village and or the township collectively, does not mean that you get it.
So we would still get taxed, that dollar figure. That's coming out of our taxes, right?
Well, the tax is the county tax.
Okay.
That tax is then given to the Budget Commission of the commissioners, and they distribute the funds as they see fit.
Okay.
And then you compete for those funds with other entities, villages, townships, and whatnot. So just because that money would then not be Poland townships and Poland villages to share, as we've shared, quote-unquote shared, does not mean that you would get that money automatically. It would be, Boardman would bid on it, you know, Austin Town would make a case for it. It could be gone entirely. You know, it was the cut off your nose to spite your face analogy that was given to me that you really want to do that. And at the time, council said no, but I know we don't get a lot of benefit from being connected, but the question is it more of a problem, more trouble to disconnect from them and not have anything come out of it?
It might be better to think about having higher expectations from the township.
Yeah, we talked about that too.
And pressuring them to provide us
You know,
more services.
Case in point, the lighting of Poland, I mean, they contributed nothing.
Well, they weren't asked either.
Well, I mean, and then at the last meeting, Bill, you sat there and asked for more...
Well, that's like you're a township president.
Well,
One other thing you're forgetting is the township, I'm backing, I paid for a police K-9 unit. And Eddie and I talked to my sons, we're hoping to get enough funds to purchase a vehicle. So the township is going to have a K-9 unit, and believe me, it works. So, it is a benefit for the village, and
And when the township shares those things with us, it does benefit us. And I think in talking to Mr. Sharville in the past and talking to Russ, it was, what are the expectations? I think
Right now, I think all of our only expectations are is clean streets in spring. That's all we really get from them. But as far as police reciprocation, that's an automatic.
yeah, that's all.
That's an automatic. We have an agreement regardless of whether they get taxes from their village
Exactly.
residents or not. So that benefit exists without tax. So our expectation should be for some things more specific.
Additional things.
Right.
And since, like you said, Bill, since the membership has changed out there, maybe we could have the mayor write a new letter and ask what additional services the village could have for that money that our taxpayers...
Actually, I think we should go the other way around. I think what we should do is determine what we need and what we feel they could give to us and specifically ask for it.
Okay. I'd support that, too.
Yeah, I don't think you should leave it open-ended like that. Things tend not to get done.
if I remember correctly, I think the commissioners have final say on whether they do let you secede or to break off from the township.
Yeah, it starts with petition, and generally that petition is kind of forces the hand.
Yeah.
And it's rare whenever that secession is proposed that it doesn't happen.
Yeah, there's a hearing.
But you're right. As far as the money goes, it could possibly go to other entities.
Including...
Unlikely. I don't believe it would.
Yeah, or libraries. I think that's one of the things that they mentioned. Libraries were up for it.
I don't believe it would. Just,
I don't believe it would go to other communities.
I think that we had enough, a good enough relationship with the county commissioners.
County commissioners don't decide. Budget commissioners decide. totally different group. County prosecutor, auditor,
Yeah.
treasurer.
I thought there was a member of the commission. Treasurer, auditor, prosecutor, and there's one or two more. I thought one of the commissioners was put on, I could be wrong about that, but it's a group and they traditionally do what they've done in the past. You know, I'll provide more information if that's what we want to do after maybe discussing it with the township. And I would have couched the letter in those terms of the discussion, I would think, to leave it.
First start with a try to do something that's cooperative.
Yes.
And
I
if that-
agree.
And if that failed,
Yes.
then maybe you go in the other direction.
Yeah, I think if you pose it and talk about it open line ballot, I think it would help.
Mr. Simon, do you have something to say?
No, Kathy kicked me in the ankle and said, "I'll talk to a couple people after the meeting is over."
Then report.
Motion to accept the solicitor's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's 8:08.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Mark, let's keep going. Meeting adjourned.
Mark's holding up on this door.
Yeah, let's have also much good ballot.
Okay, David,